My name is Kathy Perrotte. I've been a resident of Rockland County for 38 years now, and I currently live in Grandview on Hudson. But I've also lived in Valley Cottage and Pearl River over the course of that time, and I absolutely love being a Rockland County resident. I came to Rockland about a year after I graduated college. I went to Binghamton University, and I got my first job in technology in White Plains. At that time, it was very, very hard to find a computer programming job. There weren't many jobs around, so I was lucky to land the job in White Plains and snapped it up. But after 1 year, there were a lot more opportunities, and that's when I started working in financial technology. I was part of my first startup in 1990. I started a software company called Summit Systems. I stayed with that company until 2005. In 2005, I started the software company that I'm a part of today, that I'm the CEO of today, called Activium. My biggest accomplishments really have been the two software companies that I've been a part of founding. I didn't do it alone, I have partners, but it's a different world when you start your own business. When you start, you're the secretary, you're the janitor, you're the accountant, and you're the designer and the engineer. And as you build that business up, you tend to look for different ways to grow it. I've been fortunate that I've been part of global companies. Both of my companies have been international businesses. So we have offices all over the world, in New York, London, Paris, Singapore, Australia, and even one person sitting in Hong Kong. I do talk to a lot of people, emerging entrepreneurs, young people who are starting out in their careers, and I do pay particular focus on the young people and young women. What's amazing to me today is that women, I think when I started, so I've been in this industry 40 years, and I think the pay gap between men and women when I started was maybe, women were making 70 cents on the dollar to men, and today it's 78 cents. I mean, we haven't made that much progress. And so what I try to encourage women to do is what I see a lot of young men do. And that is really, don't be afraid to ask for what you want. And sometimes fake it till you make it. Because women tend to be happy with what they're given, and men are always asking for more. And that's just, I think, part of how women are raised. I think that's kind of the culture that we've grown up in. It's part of the patriarchal culture that we've grown up in. And when it comes to talking to someone who's becoming an entrepreneur, whether it's a man or a woman, I try to encourage them to recognize that the most important asset you have is truly the people that are working for you. It doesn't matter whether you're building chairs or building software, it's the people behind it that's going to give you the quality that you need. And so encouraging them to understand the value of the people that they work with, which includes paying attention if someone's suffering. It includes paying attention, looking for signs of, whether it's depression or in the case of, women sometimes, abuse, because again, it knows no boundaries, right? There are plenty of women, very powerful women that I know who have gone through some form of abuse or violence. And it's, so it's incumbent on business leaders to look for that. We can't end violence against women without men, without the support of men. And I feel the same way in the business. Being a woman in technology it's very much a male-dominated field. And to get women into senior executive positions, to get them a seat at the table, really takes the support of men to do that. And I've been very fortunate. My business partners have been so supportive of me. They never looked at me as, kind of the woman in the room. They looked at me as an equal partner all the way through, and they've always treated me that way. So I just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to them, because I wouldn't be where I am today without my business partners, Alan, Xavieri, George, and Jean. So I just really wanted to give them a little bit of credit, because I would not be where I am without them. The biggest support that I have is my partner, Marla Pasquale. She's a very strong woman. She's taught me a lot in the 13 years that we've been together, but she's been very supportive, because in the woman in my position, anyone in this position. As a CEO of a multinational company, I do a lot of traveling. I'm not available for a lot, and she never fails to lift me up when I need that. Being a successful woman in an industry that is largely led by men is a great accomplishment, but to be recognized by the community, not just for that, but for the contributions I make to the community, is super special to me. I'm absolutely inspired by the work, particularly the founders of the Center for Safety and Change. I've been fortunate to meet many of them, most of them, but to really call some of them my dear friends. I certainly miss people like Carolyn, and most recently, the passing of Elizabeth Voigt has really impacted me. But Simona Chazen, Phyllis Frank, Mimi Hoffman, and others are true inspirations to me. They're brave, and I think that's what it boils down to, is the bravery, because it's easy to do things around this cause today where there's so much awareness, but think about the awareness that existed 45 years ago. There was literally none. I'm also inspired by my grandmother primarily. My grandmother was a victim. My grandmother took so much abuse, but she had 9 children. But she stood her ground. She actually took my grandfather to court. Of course, she didn't win because it was in the 40s, I think the late 40s. But to just be able to do that, to stand up for herself, is just so brave and so amazing to me. And I wish she had a Center for Safety and Change when she was going through what she went through.